Hi everybody, it's such a pleasure to be here tonight to get to read for you all, and I'd like to thank Lauren in her absence and the whole Mass Poetry team for the opportunity to be here. It's a real honor to get to follow fabulous poets like Sarah and Shenzhen. So when I was in high school, we were required to memorize and then declaim 3 to 5 pieces of literature, poetry, or drama per year. One year I decided I was going to recite the entirety of The Owl and the Pussycat in French. Another year I decided I was going to tell a whole fairy tale backwards. I am going to do nothing that complicated this evening. However, there will probably be both owls and fairy tales involved, so consider yourself forewarned. When I am not writing poetry, as was mentioned, I work in the museum world. And either because I work in museums or possibly it was a pre-existing condition that was just sort of exacerbated by working around all of these old fascinating things, I find myself just focusing all of the time on sort of connecting the presentness of the moment to things that came before and the things that are spooling out ahead of us. So these first several poems are all about kind of the connectedness of time and sometimes the hauntingness of multiple times coexisting. So this first poem is in honor of the autumn that I am really thrilled has finally arrived because I couldn't take any more 90-degree weather. Port de Bras. I am in utter love with autumn light, with the air that burns each golden leaf to crisply glowing jagged sun shards. I am in blue deep love with autumn wind, with exfoliant gusts of sharp amusement, beguiling laugh of skirts and scarves. I am in raw-boned love with rosy boughs of trees, bearing in afternoon's bright regard, flaunting burnished to the yearning sky. Directly after college, I moved to Brussels to teach for a year, and the winters in Brussels are not like the winters here. You almost never get those like crisp, bright blue winter days that make you glad to be alive. It's just this sort of unending stretch of gray from about November to March. So this next poem was written in my attic room in my apartment in Brussels that winter that I was away. Belgian skylight. White-gray blank, featureless square of sky, fancifully bordered by rime-crusted leaves, cold season's marzipan. Within their whispered crunch, I hear my mother bless, alive to every moment. Curled up alone, washed by echoes of rain and silences that hold the restless clock, I strain against that foreign sky. Her words, those leaves, I feel the years clip by. This next one is from the same Palettes of Light project, one of which was featured in the LA gallery. This one is of a pair of pictures, which is a dragonfly meeting a water lily. 1,000 wing beats in a single blink, a dizzy stillness risen from the murk. Fierce scrap of sky that flirts with whirls of pink, a swerve, a loop, a sparkle, then a perch. Survival guide. Fill a bag with silence. Carry it with you for emergencies, parties, field trips, funerals, boat rides, bike paths. Open it sparingly. Share it only with the few, or none. When it is empty, wander by roads, glean heartbeats from the dappled shadows and breath from the wash of the sea. Fill your bag with silence, and when you've found it, come find me. This next one was written actually in a prohibition bar in Baltimore. I was there for a conference and it had this fascinating owl statue above the bar where the lights would blink while it was safe because it had been a speakeasy, and when the lights went on full blast, they knew that the police were coming and they had to hide the drinks. So, the Owl Bar, Baltimore. Owl eyes blink down from a prohibition bar as the blades spin overhead and the patterned brick and the diner's hum rattle through my wiring, furling fern-like round the seam. Girls with bobs, thoroughly modern, sipping shandy and fizzing, quizzing gent and bore alike, speaking easy, eyes wide open for the flash of boys in blue. I watch my mirror sip, tuck short strands behind my ear. My dress needs more fringe. This last one is in honor of those beautiful winter days that I missed so much while I was in Belgium. Holding the glance. Sunset over the reservoir. Pinks and oranges glow double on frozen water. I cut an icy sliver, store it in my freezer to light the dark machine, the hot dog rolls and ice cream pints, to let them taste sunset. Now, I've often joked that we're all living out our own genre stories. Some people live in romantic comedies, others in documentaries. I myself tend to live a kind of urban fantasy sort of life, so this is where the myths and fairy tales come in. Lost Girl. I used to read fantasy, but I grew out of it, she said, 19 and earnest under unplucked brows. I fought to keep a straight face as the dragon on my shoulder laughed. If you can grow out of it, I didn't say. It wasn't in you anyway. Rose. Barrier Briars. The prince's name rings like a chime. Inside, is she sleeping or wakefully dreaming? Such pendulous weight on a kiss. Fast forward her to now. Her thorns are her own, yet her spindle-scarred heart beats within. Can one grasp ever after through this? Curse or cure this blending of modern sharp, magic-eyed maid? No dragon, no wand, just bare feet, scarlet paths, grace. This next one is also from the Palettes of Light project, and owes not a little bit, I'm afraid, to Doctor Who. Travelers. Young Jacob had a ladder, Jack a beam, to open up a wormhole in the sky. But you and I must be our time machine to ride the moment as it passes by. Climb in, climb up, break through and find the glow. You are more made of magic than you know. And this one is because sometimes the sounds of words just run away with me and I let them. Content. Content, the need to know. Contented, curiosity satisfied. Contained, no sir. No curbs on questions asked or answered here. No constraints on cures or curses, cavils or caryats, cakewalks or cave dives or crashes or crawls. Be contented, content questing querent. The library's open. Lullaby. Cast your wish upon a sea star. Let the current carry your dreams. Rock in the waves of moonlight. Let your skin slip apart at the seams. Surf upon the stardust with the selkies all dancing beside, while the siren sings to her hairbrush and the moon falls in love with the tide. There's a song in our souls that connects us to the rhythms of ripples on shore. The touch of wild magic selects us for our dream things and night wings and more. Cast your wish upon a sea star. Let the current carry your dreams. Whisper soft to the wind who you most are, like the heart of an oyster, a gleam. And this one owes a lot to how much I love W.H. Auden's poem Archaeology. I really love what he does with turning words on their head in that poem, so if you've never read it, I highly recommend it. However, this being me with the urban fantasy life, this is not archaeology, but crypto-archaeology. A circlet, a necklace, a bracelet, a hoard overglowered by a wizard in a tree, a mussel shell, a bottle shard, a lightning bolt, sacrificial remains of a wild wave at sea, Merlin and mermaid, and marvel and murk, fantasy and memory, and treachery and books. Whose hands carved the bark, shaped the pot, drew the spume, whose brow bore the gold, dreamed the tree, split the gloom. Pantheons and paragons and pillars of the earth, mystery and majesty and wishing wells and words. This next one may need just a bit more context. Despite its sci-fi sound, it's actually based off current events. If any of you are familiar with the story of Hitchbot, which was the Canadian robot that launched in Salem and was headed for Los Angeles, it met an untimely demise in Philadelphia, sadly just a few weeks after it began, and it made me rather mad. Still life with decapitated robot, or this is why we can't have nice things. So much for the city of brotherly love, so much for the thumb and the cheery glove. Beam me up, Scotty, no intelligent life here, when a welly-wearing robot has so much to fear. Did that bit of small destruction make you better, make you proud? Is your life just that distressing? Gotta knock that robot down? On a very different note, do we have any other Jane Austen fans in the... Yes, excellent, we'll talk later. Fabulous. So, there's a fairly entertaining moment in Pride and Prejudice where Mrs. Bennet, mother of 4 daughters, is praising the virtues of her eldest daughter Jane and how she has provoked several young men to commit poetry. And the second daughter, Elizabeth, is getting very fed up with the whole idea and says basically, and thus ended his affection, because in her opinion, in what she calls a pale, sickly sort of inclination, one good sonnet can starve it entirely away. This, however, does not stop poets from trying to write about human relationships and other similarly sticky things, and I am no exception. Handiwork. My heart is in my hands. Look at the work of my hands and you will see it. I hold it out for you. Ignore the blood, it's mostly metaphorical anyway. I'm quick with band-aids, I have lots of practice. The work of my hands does the work of my heart. You are on every page. There's a person who lives here in the Boston area that everybody knows as the Logan Airport Owl Man. He has spent the last 30 years rescuing snowy owls from the runways of Logan Airport and carrying them up to the North Shore to release them on safer beaches. And I heard him speak once and thought he was fascinating. So this next poem is inspired by him. Runway. I want to love you like Logan Airport's Owl Man. 4 a.m., stooped along the runway. November through May. 30 years of snow-white feathers and black talons, curved within the cups of weather-beaten hands. I want to keep your sharps and softs in pre-dawn light, carry them to a safer beach to hunt small bites of fur, to fly far from jet wash and wheel on silent wings. I know myself an owlet, testing new pin feathers in your tenuous grasp. So, thanks again everybody for being here tonight. My last poem is another current events poem, and it was inspired by the images this summer that were sent back from NASA's mission to Pluto. So this is Horizons, in honor of the Pluto flyby. The day the last shuttle launched, I cried. My feet returned to stone. The sky should not be closed, or we make ourselves alone. My feet return to stone paths that the old masters trod. We alone make ourselves a star worth remembering. But paths of the old masters led me back to the heavens. The stars are worth remembering, and the way the planets dance. Leading each other round the heavens, new horizons shone in Pluto and Charon's dual orbit that they dance. Heart turning round in space. Pluto and Charon show us new horizons. The day the last shuttle launched, I cried. Hearts turning round in space, the sky shall not be closed. Thank you very much.